Hey, the first thing we'll learn in ceramics throwing is how to center. So this little clip is about how to center your clay. Um, First thing you'll need is a bat. So you will call these bats. They have some holes in it and they line up with those screws. So that's the first thing you will put on. Then after that, if you're left-handed, you will, I'll just keep talking until my camera focuses. Um, you will there's a little switch, a black button on the side, right here. It goes up for left-handed, and that will go clockwise. See, the wheel will. And if you're right-handed, it will go the other side. So, well, I'm not going to show you. So the thing is that you want your clay to move, because your hands are rounded, to move along with the curve of your hand. If I would be right-handed, see, if I would move, it will go against it. So make sure that when you're right-handed, it goes counterclockwise. If you're left-handed, it goes clockwise. So after that, it's how you sit is the most important part of being able to center. If I sit too far away with my stool, then you can see that my fingers are not going to be in this middle point. So then I will never be able to center my clay. So make sure that you are in the right position with your chair, and your knees are on the side. I cannot, my camera is right here, so I'm to be careful. So, and then as you can see, my elbow is leaning on it's good to have your sleeves above your elbows. Pretty much all this part of your arm will get dirty. So have your sleeves above your elbows, then lean forward, have your elbows on your knees so you have some support to keep that strong. You don't want your hands to move a lot. So now I can use my legs and my arm to keep my hands steady. So the first thing you will try to figure out where that is, where those hands are on your legs. See, if I sit like this, I'm too far. So I need to really make sure that I'm in the right position, my chair, move my legs, and this is it for me. So when I sit comfortably, my fingers make a dot in the middle. If I'm wrong, I'm too far up, I'll make a circle. So please do that for the first time. See where you're sitting and see what's comfortable. And make sure your face, as you can see right here, your nose is right above the middle of your bat and about a foot away from your clay. Okay, you grab your clay, smack it on your bat, and make sure it doesn't move. When it moves around real easily, that means you will never center it because you will move it around. As you can see right here, this clay is pretty dull. You want it shiny. And I don't want you to spray water on your clay. You just make your hands wet. In your bucket right here, make your hands wet, sit in your position, lean forward, and bring, as you can see, my clay was not stuck. It kept going. When that happens, squeeze out your big painter sponge, wipe it down, stick it on there again. It's harder to do when it's a little wet, so okay, there we go. So make your clay shiny, have your arms on the sides, bring that clay. Okay. I need a different piece of clay. There we go. Well, I showed you right away, but it's what happens when your clay is not stuck. So sit on your elbows, bring those hands to the middle. Your clay will come up. After your clay came up, so it's sticking above your hands, grab your non-dominant hand. So your dominant hand is on the side, and see how it wobbles? I make it strong. My elbow really leans on that leg. That leg really squeezes against that wheel, and I bring it to the middle. And that's how you center. And I'm sitting right. If I was sitting too far down and I would do it, my clay would get off. And my hand, see how my hand starts to wobble? So make sure when your clay wobbles, move around, move that chair, move your arms and your legs until your hands don't wobble around your clay. Okay, that's the very first step. The second step you will do, so having your clay centered on the outside, now you need to center on the inside as well that you will hollow out. So how I do that, both hands are on the outside. My thumbs should be symmetric. So what I'll do, I'll bend them on the right way. Right, you can see it like that. And then I stick them. I'm not going to go like this. I'm really having them as straight down as I can. And make that little hole in the middle. Using my hands like that and my hands on the outside, that hole will be centered too. So everything needs to be centered, the outside, the inside. Then I use my dominant hand. It's easy for me. If you want to do it the other way, that's fine too. My dominant hand comes up, but always one hand with the elbow and your leg keeps that clay in place. My other hand, my fingers go stick them in the middle. And see my hands, the clay's between my hands where I work. I press against there, where my hand's on the outside. I'm not over here. I'm not doing this. I always have one hand on the outside. It's like a pinch pot. You always have to support it. The other hand is on the other side. So I'm holding those two hands together. The clay is between my hands. So right here, where I'm putting pressure. So go down. Don't go too deep. Don't go through it. And bring those two hands together. So all I'm doing, as you can see, how is that? Right there. So I'm pressing this together. And right in here is the clay. Keep your hands wet, keep that clay shiny. And there is your first bowl. The second step, when you're really comfortable, when you have those walls, is you pack your bottom. Get your sponge. Really press that sponge in the bottom, clean that out. If you have a lot of clay in the middle, just scoop that out. Right there. Then it's time to check. You want all your walls even thickness. Down here with one hand, don't check with two, with one hand so you can feel between your fingers, see where it's thicker. Right there it's about there, and up top it's right there. So I need to put more pressure where it was thicker. So that's what I'll do now. Until you have nice, even walls. If your clay starts to wobble again, go back in that beginning position and bring that clay back to the middle. Okay? If you have really wobbly, what happens when your clay is not centered and then you center it again, it will get wobbly. And I'm looking for my needle. You want to cut off that top. If you need a needle for that, which I lost. So what you will do, you have, I'll be right back. You have a needle and must have dropped it somewhere. So you have your needle, hold your hand, your clay between your thumb and your forefinger, and your dominant hand is holding the needle. So have your needle on that thumb, and real slowly you will go through that clay, and you will take it off with the hand that was holding it. The key is to go real slowly. Everything that you do throwing, when you put your hands on the clay and off the clay, you go real gentle. Okay, no rammy. Then after you cut your clay off, oops, you clean up the top. If you want to make more in a bowl, have both hands, and when you press on the inside, always see how I always have the clay between two hands? You can bring that out slowly. My clay is starting to stick. It's not shiny anymore. So all I'm doing is bringing both hands out to make a little bowl. So there you go. Then when you're done, we'll cut off the clay from the bat. So when it starts shrinking, it's not going to crack, and because it's stuck to the bat, you use a wire. And the key thing with your wire is hold it in your hands and have it between your two fingers, and those fingers slide over the bat. And then you use that bat as a guide to cut it off even. Never pick up that wet bowl with your hands. Always hold the bat. Let it dry for a night so it's leather hard, and then the next day you can tool it.